How can I know I exist if I'm trying to be like everybody else? If I'm trying to do everything like everybody else? Welcome to the Black Mother Wound podcast, where we center the stories of Black women as we heal from the painful relationships with our mothers. Welcome back, everyone. This is the Black Mother Wound podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Arnice. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to part 3 of the Kickstarting Your Healing for 2025 series. And if you're listening to the audio, I'm still in the bed. Oh my God, Lord have mercy. I feel like hosting this podcast from my bed in my pajamas is an act of resistance. That's what I feel like. I feel like this is my activism because I can rest and still, I don't want to say be useful because I'm useful in my existence, but I can still do all the things. You mean I can't run a mile in my bed, but this concept that I struggle with around being acceptable. What is acceptable? What white men have deemed as professional, what the world, which is a white man's world, have deemed as, acceptable, as professional, as what makes me trustworthy, what makes me believable, what makes me an authority is wrapped up in sitting behind a desk. I even took the desk out of my office. And I'm not even calling it an office anymore. Right now it's a studio, but it's not even a studio anymore because now I'm recording in my fucking bedroom. So it's like I have this extra room that I thought was going to change my life. Like so everybody needs a home office. And I need a home studio because that's what I saw everyone on YouTube. They had a room dedicated to posting professionally, and the background was amazing, and it was just so, it made me look like I knew something, and it just, the aesthetics of it was giving. And don't get me wrong, I love a good visual aesthetic. I love interior design. I love it. But this idea that my credibility rested in me being something other than myself, it rested in me rejecting myself in some way, in any way. That is not the success I want for myself. And it's not the success I want for you. That you have to reject, abandon, shame yourself, twist yourself up like a pretzel in order to have the things you want in life, right? To be recognized. Because actually, if you don't show up as yourself, and you get the things you want, it really won't matter because nobody's going to recognize that it's you. It's going to be somebody else. And I want to be myself. If I don't do anything else in this world, I want to be myself. And I want to be myself without shaming myself, without bashing myself. I want to be myself in a way that I embrace me. I don't just accept me, but I'm like, oh, you are amazing. No matter what, in every fucking way, just you being yourself is so special. It's so unique. I want to know what the unique things are about me. I want to know what makes me tick and my little idiosyncrasies and what makes me quirky and what makes me, right? That is a part of really healing because it's like I exist. How can I know I exist if I'm trying to be like everybody else? If I'm trying to do everything like everybody else. And then I do it and it doesn't work the same way it worked for them. And now I'm mad at myself. I'm just like, oh, let me go find somebody else to be like, you know, because they're being their self. So if I'm being like them, that's kind of like me being myself, but it's not. Okay, it's not. And that's why I really, really, if you're listening to the audio, I think it's important that for this series that you do come to the video because There's a part of us.
What's up, boo? Sorry to interrupt the episode. I just wanted to let you know my 6-week Black Mother Wound Healing Intensive starts again in January. Listen, we are not carrying this mother wound burden into 2025, okay? It's done, it's played out, and it is out of style. But you know what is in style? Learning to love yourself completely, knowing you're worth it without working for it, putting yourself first without feeling guilty about it, and trusting yourself without asking everybody else what they think you should be doing. So if you're ready for this life-changing transformation, click the link below so you don't miss out. And as always, we're all in this together.
Us that doesn't visually show up for ourselves. You know, we haven't been safe to be visually authentic, whether it's colorism, whether it's our hair, whether it's our nose, whether it's, our size, whatever it is, whatever it is, the size of your lips, the size of your hips. Listen, I've been reading Tressie Cottom. I be saying her last name wrong, but she knows who I'm talking about. Thick. And it's hard to read because the too muchness of us, which really is amazing, but it's also dangerous. It's like I'm a weapon against myself for being myself. And it's fucked up. It's very fucked up. And it's really, really important that we find a way to show up as ourselves visually and audibly, like in ways that people can see us with our 6 senses, 5 senses. Listen, I believe in 6 senses, but most folks, we didn't talk about the regular 5 senses, right? How we present, and not present like, oh, so they'll like us. But if we were to see ourselves, we can say, oh, I know her. I know her. When we look at pictures of ourselves, when we hear a recording of ourselves years down the road, that it's like, oh, I recognize her. Whether it was she was happy, she was sad, she was excited, whatever it is, she was herself in that picture. Not you look at it and be like, oh yeah, I remember being really sad in that picture. But in the picture, you look like you happy. Not that, but to be able to look at it and be like, oh, what you see is what the fuck you get, right? And that can be very difficult if who we are was chastised as a child. And so in part 3 of this jumpstarting your healing in 2025, I really don't know what the practical steps are. I do know what the practical steps are. I don't know how to make it easy. And that's what I hate, because I feel like some of the stuff that I want to say, it's like, that shit is hard. I need you to tell me something else because that's too hard. But you have to do it anyway. You really do. And it is another part of creating a healthy relationship with yourself, because it's how you stop abandoning yourself and stop rejecting yourself. And so I want us to really examine ways in this new year that we can stop abandoning ourselves visually and audibly. Okay? That's all I want to focus on, because I want to make it very elementary in a way that our inner little girl can understand, because a child can see themselves and hear themselves, right? And they make themselves known in their physical presence and with their voice. So that's what I really want to focus on, the ways in which we can show up. And we all have different personalities and quirks and the way we do that. And so I can't say it's not a one size fits all. I can tell you some things for me that mean something that have helped me. The practice for you is whatever comes up for you, that is the thing for you. Instead of, well, I don't, something's going to come up and then you're going to shoot it down. Whatever comes up, you don't shoot it down. It might sound odd, strange, may not sound important. It may seem too small. You're like, that can't be it. Whatever comes up, that's what I want you to roll with, because that's how you continue to build trust with yourself. Okay? In the most loving way. So when we talk about how we can begin to recognize ourselves visually and audibly, one of the first things that comes to mind for me is makeup. I have always loved hair, makeup, and nails all my life. And I don't even know how I got to be that way, because by the time my mother had me, she was Pentecostal Christian and she didn't believe in hair, makeup, earrings, adornment, dressing cute, or any of that. So that's why I know it is a deep, deep part of who I am. And it might not be that for you, but it definitely is that for me. And I always loved red lipstick. Like it was, I can't even explain it, but I have a visceral connection with not just any red lipstick, but a blue based red lipstick, not an orange based, but a blue base, a cool undertone red lipstick. Ruby Woo was a good one in MAC. And I've got one in Smashbox and one in NARS now that are really cool that I love. And even I remember one in red lipstick when I was like 5 and 6 years old. So, they didn't go over well with my mother. That's why I think she always thought I was like a little Jezebel. But anyway, so wearing red lipstick is a part of my activism. It is. And when I say activism, it's not fight against the machine activism. It is all the ways that I am told and I have been shown that I don't exist, right? It's like, no, I do fucking exist. And this red lip is me fucking existing. Really, color of any sort. I bought this fuchsia magenta wool full length coat for Black Friday. Baby, I have worn that coat out over the last month. Do you understand? I have worn it with everything. It makes everything look good. I don't care. I had on a gray sweatsuit, some sneakers, and a toboggan and was looking busted. I put that pink coat on and I was like, I'm going to the White House. Okay? That is how simple it can be. What is your thing? Maybe it's a perfume, maybe it's the way you wear your hair. And I grew up thinking like these things were frivolous, but they're not frivolous. Okay? And they are unique to me. It's not like nobody else is doing it, but when I do it, I know I'm really, really being myself. It's like, ooh, yeah. I also know it's a real thing because it sometimes makes me a little nervous. Like, what are they going to think when they see this? Which is another reason why you should be doing it. So I want you to think about what are the things visually where you can show who you really are? And it doesn't have to be expensive, right? Whether it is showing yourself visually at work, at school, in your car, or even at home, right? What is a way? And maybe you have to start with it at home because you got to start small, because you do have a fear of being reprimanded out publicly, right? Now, of course, I want you to test that. Okay. I'm not trying to tell you to challenge your whole livelihood. I mean, I am, but everybody, you got to do what's best for you. But maybe it's at home. It's like, you know what? I'm about to start wearing leather thongs at home because it's something has been calling me that I should be in a leather motherfucking thong. Now you might have a leather thong on under your conservative wear. You might work for FedEx, but you got that red leather song on under there. That's some powerful shit, right? It's still a statement. These are ways we can be. Ooh, I'm like stepping over my words because this is so, there's so much coming up right now. I feel like I can see people, you know, that are listening. And I'm like, ooh, that will be the thing for you. That will be the thing for you. That will be the thing for you. And it's something so simple. When my son was probably about 3 years old, I was living with my mom back in Fayetteville. And I had a coach then. I was stuck in a motherfucking rut. Okay. I was teaching ESL at Fayetteville Tech. Oh my God. I was down bad. Okay. I was trying my best. I swear to God I was, but I was so lost. But I can't remember the conversation we had in a session, but it was like, what would make you feel better? And it just came to me. I was like, turquoise eyeliner. And I swear to God, I still have that eyeliner to this day. Okay. I still have it to this day. It don't look new anymore. But even though I don't really wear it anymore, which I might pull it out, it is a symbol of me visually being myself. And so I went to Ulta. I got me some turquoise eyeliner. I started wearing it to work. They already knew I was on the quirky side already. I had already been told I need to change the way I dress and little stuff like that. But I won't think about them people. And it was something that was like, I'm here. It was my inner child being seen, right? And it was all I could do. It was all I had to hold on to. I was living with my mama at almost 40. I didn't have no money. I was working a job that was I was messing with a man that was eh. I didn't have no prospects on anything. Nothing. Okay? Had just filed bankruptcy. And I'm out here with turquoise eyeliner like that was something special. And I swear to God it was. And to this day, it's over been over 10 years. I still think about it and I'm still so grateful, right? So it's like sometimes you just need something small you can hold on to, like turquoise eyeliner. So I want you to make a list of some things. You might not do all the things, but I want you to do a brainstorm. I want your inner little child to do a brainstorm of ways that she can show up visually where she can recognize herself. It's like, oh, that's me right there. Okay. Is it going to Target and it's like the frilly socks? Whatever it is, whether it's a clothes, makeup, hair, something in your house, a way you want to smell, okay? Because that's one of the five senses too, right? And I want you to implement as many as you can, especially if you can compound them. And if you've been following from week one, building the list of the things you want to change and having an emotional momentum around that, to the list of 30 things you love about yourself, to now creating this uh, tactical to do around recognizing yourself and owning. You can't even own yourself until you recognize yourself. You are going to be setting yourself up for a very powerful year. Okay. And if you will notice, all of these things are about you making different choices for yourself out in the world and then allowing fear to come up, allowing triggers to come up because I know what's coming up for you right now. And you know what you're supposed to do. Hand on chest, hand on belly. I know you're scared right now. I know you think that you're going to be rejected, you're going to get in trouble, you're going to make a fool of yourself. Let me tell you something. Nothing's going to happen to you. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. You have great ideas. You are so creative and smart and beautiful and imaginative. And I trust you. Okay. And we're going to implement some of these things, and it is okay. It's okay. You have to be, listen, I already know what's going to come up. I want it to come up. See, a lot of y'all are not healing because you don't want the things to come up. You don't want the triggers to come up. You don't want the fear to come up. You don't want the panic to come up. But the cost you pay is to keep living the same fucking life. And then you're trying to figure out, well, Jennifer, what do I do to reparent? What do I do to heal? You're going to have to go through all the feelings, the guilt, the shame, all of that stuff. So you can come back and say, there's no reason for you to feel guilty. Oh, there's no reason for you to feel shame. You didn't do anything wrong. You've got to re-raise yourself. This is reparenting. Okay. And there has to be, there's loving discipline in this. These are the examples. Okay. So I want you to visually find that list. And then I want you to audibly do the same thing. I want you to really like, what are some things? And it's not even about what are things you need to say to someone else. That might be on the list, but this isn't about boundaries. Okay. Uh, it's not about boundaries, but it might be about, there might be someone you want to say hello to and you never say hello to them. There might be a conversation you want to start. Doesn't have to be a conversation like, we need to talk, like something is wrong. It might be just like, there's somebody cool that I see online and I would like to say, hey, I think you're a cool person. We might have things in common. You're in my city, maybe we can grab coffee. It might be you just commenting on something that they say, you using your digital voice, you speaking up, right? You might want to sing, you might want to do poetry, you might want to start a podcast. Who knows? You might want to fucking scream. But you've got to learn to take up space also with your voice, right? Now, this one, a lot of people struggle with this one. I've been there. So I'm going to give you an exercise you can do to help. This is all around your throat chakra. Black mother wound in general. Throat chakra shut all the way down. It shuts it down for all of us, 100%. Okay? So this is what I want you to do. I don't know how this is going to sound like audibly on this recording, but oh well. If you're listening, I'm taking my pointer finger and my middle finger and going to put it on my throat and I'm going to tap my throat lightly as I make this ah sound. Just like that. Then you can go up and down. I just want you to get used to hearing your voice, and I want you to get used to just exercising it, just letting sound come out, right? I used to have the worst issue with, I hated the way my voice sounded. And now here I am with the podcast and a YouTube channel where all I do is run my fucking mouth. And I listen back to my voice sometimes and it's like, ooh, that shit's smoother than butter. Ooh, you sound so good. And I'm like, you always sounded like that. You always sounded good. You just didn't fucking know it. Right. And then some of y'all out here like, well, yeah, Jennifer, but you really do sound good. I don't sound good. That's the same thing I would say. I would say the same thing about somebody else, right? So tapping the voice, tapping your two fingers on your throat and just making that noise. What are some other voice exercises? If you're watching on video, you can see me, but all I'm doing is making a noise out of my voice with my voice and sticking my tongue out and changing the shape of my lips as I do it. So your voice, your tongue, your mouth all work together. So I want you to play around with that. Just if you're driving, if you're doing dishes, if you're sitting there watching TV, you're on the phone, I want you to be practicing opening up that throat chakra and playing with it while you're by yourself before you start to say things with other people and you're like, oh my God, I froze. I couldn't say this because you're not warmed up. Then I want you to go to your list of the things that you want to say, right? I know there's something you have to say, and I want you to use your voice and say it out loud, right? This can be very scary. I know in my mind, what keeps coming up is like setting a boundary. I need to say this to this person, I need to end this with them. If that is what's coming up for you, go for it, right? What I will say is your voice is for you. It's not for them. It's not for the agreement of someone else. What I'm asking you to do visually is not for someone else. It's not so they'll like it. It's not so they'll compliment you or they'll see it. It is only for you, which again is a part of this healing process. Nobody else has to like it. No one has to understand it. It is for you and you alone. Okay? Once you can do this, and then what happens is you start to see yourself differently because you don't see yourself as you really are. You just don't. You see yourself through the eyes of your mother and then through the eyes of all the other people who have treated you how she treated you. And I need you to do these things so you can start to recognize yourself and see who you really are. Because then you can start to make even more decisions based off of that authentic self. And then you can really look at, who am I really? What I teach and resolve is about your conditioned identity versus your authentic identity. And you're living in a conditioned identity based off of what do you need to do so you can stay safe versus I keep myself safe, and because of that I do what the fuck I want to do, and I trust myself to make good decisions, to keep myself safe, to uplift my life, to grow my life, and to build something that looks like me, sounds like me, tastes like me, smells like me, feels like me, because that is what we're here for. Okay? And that's when we know, like, oh, I really do exist. That is what taking up space is. Okay? And you deserve that. So, that's your exercise for week 3 of jumpstarting your healing in 2025. I'll be back next week with the last episode, and I have something good planned for them too. But you'll see that next week. I love you dearly. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. You are doing an amazing job. I know how much you want this, and I know how challenging it can be. And I also believe in you, and I know that this is what you were made for, and you're in the right place at the right time with the right people. So just remember that. I love you dearly. You are doing a great job, and Resolve is open. Today, I guess you've probably got maybe another week to sign up, or it might be starting. I'm having the class on Thursdays this week, this time around, not this week. So if this drops on Tuesday, you probably have a couple of days to join. So check out the link below, and I hope to see you there, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.